Have you ever felt like the universe is sending you signals? Those strange coincidences that appear right when you're making an important decision. Are they really just chance occurrences, or is there something deeper happening? Stay until the end, because today we're going to explore one of Carl Jung's most fascinating concepts, synchronicity, that secret language through which the universe communicates that you're exactly where you need to be. Think about the last time you made an important decision. Perhaps you had doubts, felt uncertainty, but suddenly, signs began to appear. A book falling into your hands with exactly the answer you needed. A casual conversation that provided the clarity you were seeking. Or maybe an unexpected encounter that completely changed your perspective. Carl Jung, one of the most brilliant and revolutionary psychologists in history, called these events synchronicities. They're not simple coincidences, but events connected by meaning, not by cause. And according to Jung, these synchronicities appear more frequently when we're aligned with our true self, when we finally choose ourselves. But what does it really mean to choose ourselves? In a world that constantly pushes us to conform, to follow the path traced by others, choosing yourself is a revolutionary act. It's daring to listen to that inner voice that whispers your true desires, even when they seem irrational or impossible to those around you. Jung discovered that there's a profound connection between our inner world and the outer one. When we live disconnected from our essence, when we ignore the signals from our unconscious, the external world reflects that chaos and fragmentation. But when we dare to look inward, to accept all our parts, even those that frighten us, the outer world begins to transform. Imagine your psyche as a vast ocean. On the surface are your conscious thoughts, what you know about yourself, your recognized desires and fears. But beneath, in the depths, exists an entire unexplored world, your unconscious. And there, in those deep waters, lies your true potential, your unrecognized gifts, your unhealed wounds, and also your greatest treasures. Jung dedicated his life to exploring that inner ocean. He discovered that when we refuse to look into the depths, when we ignore the signals coming from our unconscious, we pay a very high price. We feel empty, disconnected, as if something essential is missing in our lives, even though externally everything seems perfect. And the unconscious doesn't remain silent when we ignore it. It communicates through dreams, sudden impulses, inexplicable emotions, and yes, also through those synchronicities that appear in our life. Every time you feel a deep discomfort without apparent reason, every time you find yourself attracted to something without understanding why, your unconscious is trying to communicate with you. Jung taught us that the path to fullness, to a life that truly resonates with who we are, begins with an act of courage, choosing to listen to those signals. But make no mistake, this is not an easy path. It requires facing your shadows, those parts of yourself that you've rejected, repressed, or feared for so long. The shadow, as Jung called it, is not something you should be ashamed of. It's simply the repository of everything that didn't fit into the image you wanted to project to the world. Your selfish impulses, your desires that didn't seem right, your negative emotions, all that you learned to hide because it wasn't acceptable. But here's the paradox. The more you reject your shadow, the more you try to separate yourself from those unacceptable parts, the more power they have over you. They manifest in your life as compulsive behaviors, as attractions to people who harm you, as decisions that you know don't serve you, but that you can't avoid making. True liberation comes when you dare to look at your shadow directly, when you recognize that those parts are also yours and deserve to be integrated, not eliminated. It's a process that Jung called individuation, the journey toward becoming who you truly are in your totality. And it's precisely on this path of self-discovery where synchronicities begin to appear with greater frequency and intensity. It's as if the universe celebrates your courage, your willingness to be authentic, by sending you signals that you're on the right path. Think about your current life. How many decisions have you really made from your authenticity? And how many have been driven by fear, by the need for approval, or simply by what seemed more sensible? What if all those concerns, that feeling that something's missing, were actually invitations to a deeper journey? Because, as Jung discovered, the unconscious doesn't seek to destroy you. On the contrary, it seeks to guide you toward wholeness, toward the integration of all your parts. But to hear that guidance, you first need to create space for silence, for introspection. In a world that constantly values productivity, external connection, and noise, giving yourself permission to simply be and listen is revolutionary. There's a story Jung used to tell about a patient who was trapped in a cycle of suffering. Despite having success by external standards, he felt deeply unhappy. One day, while relating a recurring dream, he mentioned a scarab beetle that appeared in it. Just at that moment, something hit the window of Jung's office. It was a scarab beetle, an extremely rare type in that region. Jung interpreted it as a powerful synchronicity, a sign that his patient was connecting with deep aspects of his psyche that needed attention. These synchronicities are not simply curious events, they are bridges between our conscious world and the unconscious, between the visible and the invisible. They are reminders that there exists an intelligence beyond our logical understanding that is constantly guiding us. But to perceive these signals, you need to be present, attentive, connected with yourself. When you live on autopilot, running from one task to another, constantly worried about the future or trapped in the past, you lose the ability to notice these subtle messages. One of the biggest obstacles to choosing ourselves is fear. Fear of rejection, fear of failure, fear of discovering parts of ourselves that we don't like. Jung deeply understood this fear. He himself had to face periods of profound internal crisis, moments when he felt completely lost and disconnected. But it was precisely in his darkest period, after his break with Freud, when Jung began to develop his most revolutionary theories. He dared to look within himself, to explore his dreams, his fantasies, his deepest fears. And in that process, he discovered not only his own path, but also tools that have helped millions find theirs. This is perhaps Jung's most powerful lesson. Sometimes, what we most fear facing is exactly what we need to free ourselves. Those periods of confusion, of internal chaos, are not signs that something is wrong. They are a necessary part of the transformation process, just as the chrysalis must completely dissolve before the butterfly can emerge. When you finally choose yourself, when you stop living according to others' expectations and begin to listen to your own voice, something extraordinary happens. Synchronicities increase, as if the universe were telling you, yes, this is the way. People who share your values appear in your life. Opportunities that resonate with your gifts present themselves. Books, conversations, even songs on the radio seem to speak directly to your situation. It's not magic, though sometimes it may seem like it. It's the natural result of aligning with your essence. As Jung explained, there exists a field of collective consciousness, a place where we're all connected at a deep level. When you live from your authenticity, you connect more deeply with this field, and information, people, and opportunities flow to you with greater ease. But this path is not free of challenges. Choosing yourself sometimes means saying no to people who expect you to continue being who you were before. It means establishing boundaries, even when others accuse you of being selfish. It means persisting in your truth, even when no one else sees or understands it. Jung observed that many people abandon this path when they encounter resistance. It's easier to return to old patterns, to the known, even if it's painful, than to persevere through uncertainty. But those who persist, who remain true to themselves even in the most difficult moments, eventually find something that no external wealth or success can provide: a deep inner peace. This peace doesn't depend on everything in your life being perfect. It doesn't require everyone to understand or approve of you. It's a peace that comes from knowing you're living in truth, that your actions are aligned with your deepest values, that you're honoring the unique gift that you are. Think about the people you most admire. They're probably not those who simply accumulated external successes, but those who lived with authenticity, who maintained their integrity even when it would have been easier to yield, who dared to be different when everyone around them demanded conformity. Jung described these people as individuated. They're not perfect. They haven't eliminated their shadows or their fears, but they've learned to integrate all their parts, to recognize both their light and their darkness, and to live from that totality. And it's this integration that allows them to move through the world with greater freedom, creativity, and genuine love. Because, contrary to what many fear, choosing yourself doesn't make you selfish or disconnected from others. On the contrary, only when you know and fully accept yourself can you truly see and accept others. Only when you've learned to love yourself in your totality can you offer genuine love, not based on need or dependency. The relationships you establish from this place of authenticity are profoundly different. You no longer seek others to complete or validate you. You don't need them to adjust to your expectations or to rescue you from your own fears. Instead, you can relate from freedom, from the genuine desire to know the other in their essence, not just in what they can offer you. Jung observed that the most satisfying and lasting relationships are those where both people are committed to their own growth, to their own journey of self-discovery. It's not agreeing on everything or the absence of conflicts that makes a relationship work, but the willingness of both to look inward when difficulties arise, to take responsibility for their own reactions, and to use each challenge as an opportunity for greater self-knowledge. And it's here where synchronicities play a fascinating role. Often, people who are on this path of self-discovery report chance encounters with kindred spirits, with mentors who appear exactly when they need them, with communities that share their values and visions. It's as if, by choosing yourself, you send a signal to the universe: I'm ready to connect from my truth. And the universe responds by sending you exactly what you need for the next step of your evolution. Sometimes it will be a challenge that will force you to face a fear. Other times it will be a support that will allow you to take a leap of faith. One of the most powerful ways Jung experienced these synchronicities was through his dreams. He discovered that dreams are not simply random residues of the day, as many believed in his time, but profound messages from the unconscious, sometimes even warnings or guidance about situations that had not yet occurred in physical reality. Jung documented numerous cases in which dreams of his own or his patients predicted events or provided information that could not have been known by ordinary means. These experiences led him to develop his theory of a collective unconscious, a field of shared information and archetypes that we all have access to at some level. This revolutionary concept suggests that we are not as separate as our physical senses make us believe, that there exists an invisible network of connections, a fabric of consciousness that unites us all and everything. And when we live in alignment with our true nature, our connection with this network strengthens, allowing us to experience more synchronicities, more meaningful coincidences. But how can we strengthen this connection? How can we learn to recognize and follow these subtle signals that the universe sends us? Jung suggested several practices. The first, and perhaps most important, is to pay attention to your dreams. Your dreams are direct messages from your unconscious, windows to parts of yourself that your conscious mind might be ignoring. Keep a dream journal. Write down what you remember upon waking, even fragments that seem to make no sense. Over time, you'll begin to notice patterns, recurring symbols, messages that become increasingly clear. Another powerful practice is amplification. When you notice a synchronicity, however small, stop and pay attention. Ask yourself, what might the universe be trying to communicate to me? What was I thinking or feeling just before it happened? Often, the answer won't come immediately from your rational mind, but as an intuition, a deep knowing that emerges from your center. Meditation and other contemplative practices are also valuable tools on this path. They help you silence the external noise and the internalized voices of society, allowing you to hear your own voice, your own truth. You don't need complicated techniques. Simply sit in silence for a few minutes each day, observe your breath, and allow your thoughts to settle. Over time, this space of stillness will become a source of clarity and guidance. Nature is another powerful ally. Jung found profound inspiration and connection in the forests, mountains, and lakes near his home. He observed that his patients also experienced healing and clarity when they spent time in natural environments. There's something in the rhythm of nature, in its constant death and rebirth, that reminds us of deep truths about our own cycle of transformation. And finally, art in all its forms. Jung practiced what he called active imagination, using drawing, painting, free writing, and other creative expressions as bridges to the unconscious. It's not about creating a masterpiece, but about allowing what needs to be expressed to emerge without censorship or judgment. Through these expressions, we often discover parts of ourselves that had remained silent for a long time. As you integrate these practices into your life, you'll begin to notice a change. Synchronicities become more frequent, clearer, more specific to your situation. It's as if the universe adjusts its way of communicating with you as you demonstrate your willingness to listen. But perhaps the most profound change occurs in your relationship with yourself. You begin to trust your intuition more, your inner guidance. The fears that once paralyzed you lose their power over you. Decisions that once seemed impossible become clear, and you discover a sense of purpose and direction that no external success could provide. Jung observed that people who follow this path often experience what he called the realization of personal destiny. It's not that the future is predetermined, but that each being brings with them a unique potential, a seed that seeks to express itself. When we align with this innate potential, life flows with greater ease and meaning. This doesn't mean there won't be challenges. In fact, Jung noted that often, just when we're about to take an important leap in our growth, apparently insurmountable obstacles appear. It's as if life were testing our determination. Do you really want this? Are you willing to persevere despite the difficulties? These moments of testing are crucial. It's easy to choose yourself when everything is going well, when you have support and results are immediate. But it's in moments of doubt, of loneliness, of apparent failure, when your commitment to your truth is truly forged. Jung shared the story of a patient who, after years of internal work, was finally ready to leave a toxic relationship that had drained her energy for decades. Just as she made the decision, her partner suffered an accident and needed her more than ever. It seemed that the universe was putting an insurmountable obstacle in her way. But looking deeper, she saw that this wasn't a sign to stay, but a final test of her ability to choose herself, to establish healthy boundaries even in the most difficult circumstances. This is a test many of us face in different forms. The universe seems to ask, do you really value your well-being enough to defend your boundaries, even when others label you as selfish? Do you trust your perception enough to follow it, even when no one else sees what you see? And here's a truth that Jung deeply understood. You cannot be your best version for others if you constantly betray yourself. You cannot offer genuine love if you deny love to yourself. You cannot create from abundance if internally you feel empty. Choosing yourself is not an act of selfishness, but the necessary foundation for a life of authentic service, genuine connections, creativity that truly impacts the world. It's planting your feet firmly in your truth so you can extend your arms to others from a place of fullness, not lack. When you walk this path, you not only transform yourself, but you create a field of possibility for others to do the same. Your courage inspires the courage of those around you. Your authenticity gives permission to others to be authentic. Your willingness to look at your shadows creates space for others to face theirs. Jung expressed it beautifully when he said, "What we reject in ourselves, we reject in others. What we accept in ourselves, we accept in others." Every time you choose yourself, every time you honor a previously rejected part of yourself, you're contributing to a more compassionate, more authentic, more connected world. And perhaps this is the most beautiful synchronicity of all. That your personal journey of self-discovery, your brave choice to be who you truly are, not only transforms you, but sends waves of transformation far beyond what you could imagine. The universe is constantly whispering to you. Through your dreams, through meaningful coincidences, through unexpected encounters and moments of sudden clarity. These whispers are invitations to a more authentic, deeper life, more connected to your essence. Are you listening? Are you willing to follow these signs, even when they lead you down paths that others don't understand? Are you ready to discover who you really are, beyond conditioning, beyond expectations, beyond even your own fears and self-imposed limitations? As Jung reminds us, your vision will become clear only when you can look into your own heart. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. It's time to awaken, to recognize the synchronicities in your life for what they truly are. Signs that you're exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn to become who you truly are. And when you finally choose yourself, when you dare to live from that authenticity, the universe responds with a cascade of synchronicities that confirm you're on the right path. Not because it's easy, not because it's free of challenges, but because it resonates with your deepest truth, with that unique purpose that only you can fulfill. If this message has resonated with you, if you felt that spark of recognition within you as you listened, it's not a coincidence. It's a synchronicity in itself, a sign that you're ready to take the next step in your own journey of self-discovery. I invite you to take a moment right now to reflect. What synchronicities have you experienced recently? What messages have you been ignoring? What parts of yourself have you been repressing out of fear of rejection or failure? Share your experience in the comments. Your story could be exactly what someone else needs to read today. And remember, you're not alone on this path. There are many of us who are awakening, reconnecting with our essence, learning to listen to the whispers of the universe. If this video has impacted you, help me spread this message. Share it with someone you believe needs it. Sometimes the perfect video reaches the right person at the exact moment they need it. Isn't that another beautiful synchronicity? Subscribe to this channel if you want more content that helps you deepen your self-knowledge, recognize the synchronicities in your life, and live from your authenticity. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any video, because each one is a piece of the puzzle, an invitation to go deeper in your journey of self-discovery. Remember, the universe is constantly whispering to you. The question is, are you listening? Thank you for being here, for your openness, and for your courage. The simple fact that you've made it to the end of this video is a sign that you're ready for more, that something within you recognizes these truths. Trust that resonance. It's your most authentic self guiding you home. See you in the next video, where we'll continue exploring the depths of the human psyche and the wonders that are revealed when we finally dare to choose ourselves. Until then, stay attentive to the whispers of the universe. They're everywhere, guiding you exactly where you need to go.